Charges laid after police say hijab-wearing woman was attacked in an Ajax, Ontario library. The woman who is arrested is 25. She's accused of trying to light another woman's hijab on fire at a library on Saturday. And Mark Carney says Islamophobia is real, it's dangerous, and it must stop. Now, look, this is an attack targeted at an openly Muslim woman, but I'm not sure that this is the real motivation. If we get into the details of this person, I offer my support and prayers to the victim of this terrible act, and I'm relieved that the police acted quickly and made an arrest. Is the woman out yet? Because she was out on bail when she did this, and this is why this woman is a one-woman crime spree, and she just attacks everybody, regardless of their religious or political stripe. Because, as Poilievre notes, he wants jail, not bail, for repeat violent offenders, in contrast to the Liberals' catch and release policies. Let's show this, because then we'll get into some details about what we know about the woman who is apparently Islamophobic, and she very well could be, but we know more about her than Mark Carney is leading people to believe.
In nearby Ajax, a Muslim woman was recently attacked at the Ajax library. She was totally innocent, and she was attacked by a monster, a nasty perpetrator who once again had been released. This is a person who had been released after threatening people with a machete, but after she pleaded guilty, she was sentenced not to jail, but probation. This is the increasingly common story after the lost Liberal decade of crime, chaos, drugs, and disorder in our streets. Electing the Liberals to a fourth term in power will only mean that crime and chaos will run rampant here and everywhere across the country. What we need is a government that puts law-abiding Canadians first for a change by making sure that repeat offenders become permanently ineligible for bail, probation, parole, or house arrest. It will be jail, not bail. Jail, not bail when I'm Prime Minister. Yeah, you agree with that? Absolutely.
So that maniac was out on the streets after attacking people with a machete just like 4 or 5 months ago. And Mark Carney doesn't want you to believe that this is a crime problem because the Liberals just catch people and release people, and they've made it easier than ever to get bail unless you are a member of the Honkening. Then you'll go to jail for 50 days. He forgets to tell people that part. He wants you to believe that Canada is a hateful, awful place full of bigots and extremists and radicals and racists, because the alternative is Liberal policies on crime are making people unsafe. Muslims, Jews, and everybody else.
Yep. And just and another part of this story that I don't think was covered by anybody is that this happened in a public library in Canada. And increasingly, we are seeing public libraries of becoming a catch-all for the worst parts of humanity, because they let anything go in public libraries in Canada. Anything goes in public libraries. And this is just another part of the story that's sort of glossed over in this, is should Canadians be safe to visit public libraries and publicly funded institutions without the threat of violence or harm coming to them? And I think Canadians expect that they should be able to do that. And yet this is the society that the Liberal government of Canada has created for us. It is so sad.
I'm glad you brought up the public library thing, because the public libraries, thanks to the policies of progressive big city mayors, are basically unusable to anybody who's not a drug addict or a transient. Somebody on our team points out that this area of Ajax is about 10 minutes down the road from where he lives. And he said it's downtown for a suburb, but it's also one of the areas where drugs and homelessness is most prevalent. So this is a decay of our major municipalities, thanks to the Liberals in the federal government and their soft on crime policies, and then these progressive big city mayors with their apologists for drug use, violence, and lack of mental health supports. They just think that it's the best thing to do to leave people drug-addled living in an encampment where they can brandish machetes at people and light hijabs on fire.
Yep. Yeah. And in urban centers, especially in winter, what's consistently open for warming and shelter? It is the public library. And so that story in itself, an act of overt violence in a public library in Canada, is not unique. What is unique is Mark Carney's crap take on the entire thing. I mean, I think we can all agree that people that wander around in public with machetes are up to no good. And yet this person was released after doing that. After doing that. That in itself says that you have something really terribly mentally unstable happening in you. And this is not a person that should have been allowed back on the streets of Canada, and especially not into a public library. Yeah,
it's not like they were charged with mischief or anything. They had a machete in October.
Right.
Oh, hi, it's Ezra Levant here in Toronto with an important message because we need your help. Independent journalism in Canada is under attack. Government censors, big tech deplatformers, and the dying legacy media are all working together to maintain exclusive control on the information you receive. They don't want you to hear other voices like ours, and they really don't want you to be informed and to think for yourself. That's why the work we do here at Rebel News is so important. Our on-the-ground reporting, independent news shows, and special content you won't find anywhere else. It's all designed to give you trustworthy information and alternative viewpoints so you can decide for yourself. We don't get government money, and we are not owned by some big global conglomerate. We're funded by people just like you, so please support independent journalism and help us continue our work by subscribing and becoming a Rebel News Plus member today, right here on the page. Go to rebelnewsplus.com. Members get instant access to all of our shows, invitations to exclusive events, and access to our premium content like live event footage and documentaries you won't see anywhere else. Only Rebel News Plus members can join the conversation by participating in the comments section of our new website. That way you can have your say too.